Why does a man stay married to one woman yet feel drawn, irresistibly, into another? Why, even with vows, responsibilities, and appearances, does he still choose you in ways he cannot explain? This question touches a truth that 99% of people never dare to face. Love and desire are not ruled by logic, but by the unconscious. Carl Jung believed that when a man is pulled beyond his commitments, it is not simply weakness or betrayal. It is the psyche revealing what is hidden, unhealed, or deeply desired. What he sees in you is often a reflection of the parts of himself he has buried: vitality, mystery, freedom, or truth. You become the mirror of what he secretly longs to reclaim. Stay with me, because what we are about to explore is not just about him. It's about you, your power, and the unseen forces that decide why he chooses you, even when he is married to her. The power of hidden desire. Desire has always been one of the greatest mysteries of human life. People try to explain it through reason, through morality, or through social rules, but desire does not listen to any of these. Desire comes from a place deeper than logic. It comes from the unconscious, from the hidden layers of the psyche, where longings are stored, often without our awareness. And this is why 99% of married people never realize the true force guiding their choices. A man may promise himself loyalty and stability, but when desire awakens in him, it bypasses promises and explanations. It pulls him in. Silence in ways he cannot put into words. Carl Jung believed that desire is not a random fire. It is a message from the soul, a signal from the unconscious. When a married man feels drawn to another woman, it is not always because of lack at home or failure in his relationship. It is often because the unconscious has projected onto this other woman something powerful, an image, a quality, an energy that he has been missing in himself. In her presence, he feels alive again, as if some forgotten part of him is being restored. This is the power of hidden desire. It is not about simple attraction to beauty, nor about temporary escape. It is about a psychological recognition, a deep echo that says, "Here is something of me I have lost." The woman becomes the mirror of his inner world, and suddenly, she is not just a person, she is a symbol, and symbols have more force over the human soul than any reasoning. Most people do not realize this because society trains us to see desire as either right or wrong, moral or immoral. But Jung invites us to go deeper. Desire is not about morality first, it is about truth. It reveals what the conscious mind has ignored. When he chooses you, even in silence, even when married to her, it is because in you he recognizes something of himself that he longs to reclaim. This does not mean he stops loving his wife. It does not even mean he consciously understands what is happening. Hidden desire does not announce itself with clarity. It works in glances, in thoughts, in subtle energies that make him restless. He might not know why he thinks of you, why his attention lingers, why he feels unable to resist, but the unconscious knows. And what is hidden within him will keep searching for expression. Jung explained this through the concepts of anima and animus, inner images of the opposite that live in every person. For a man, the anima is the feminine within his soul, often unacknowledged. When he sees in a woman the qualities of this anima, mystery, vitality, warmth, creativity, he feels magnetized. He may already be married, but if his anima awakens when he sees you, then desire flows toward you with a strength that surprises even him. The truth is that desire, when hidden, grows stronger. What cannot be spoken often becomes more powerful. He may never say it aloud, but his body language, his energy, his choices begin to reveal it. He chooses to be near. He remembers details. He feels different when you are present. These are not conscious decisions, they are the unconscious taking the lead. This is why hidden desire holds such power. It does not need words, and it does not wait for permission. It is not controlled by circumstances like marriage or vows. It rises from the depths of the psyche and demands to be felt. For the woman, it can be confusing. She may ask, "Why me? Why now?" But the answer lies not only in her, but in what she awakens in him. The power of hidden desire is that it shows where the soul feels incomplete. When he chooses you, it is because, at some deep level, you reflect a part of him that is alive but unexpressed. And until he recognizes this truth, the pull remains strong. Jung would say, until we make the unconscious conscious, it will direct our lives, and we will call it fate. In love, this fate often feels irresistible, and it explains why even a married man finds himself choosing you in ways he never expected. Why logic never wins against attraction. When people talk about relationships, they often imagine that logic is the strongest guide. They say things like, "He has a wife, so he will never risk it," or "If he really loved me, he would make a rational choice." Yet time and time again, we see the opposite. A man who is committed, who has built a stable life, still feels pulled by an attraction he cannot explain. This happens because logic never wins against the unconscious forces of desire. What seems irrational on the surface is deeply rational to the psyche, because it follows the hidden needs of the soul rather than the rules of society. Carl Jung explained that human beings are not ruled only by their conscious mind. In fact, the conscious mind is only a small part of who we are. Beneath it lies the vast territory of the unconscious, filled with forgotten memories, unhealed wounds, archetypes, and instincts. When attraction arises, it does not come from careful reasoning. It comes from this deeper place. This is why even the most logical man, the most structured and disciplined, can find himself captivated by someone he should not desire. Logic works on the surface. It says, stay faithful, protect your marriage, follow the rules. But attraction does not come from the surface. Attraction is the voice of the unconscious, and the unconscious cares more about truth than about rules. If a man feels alive, inspired, and awakened in your presence, no amount of logic will silence that inner pull. He may fight it, he may deny it, he may cover it with excuses, but the unconscious will keep whispering. Think of how often people try to explain their choices in love. They say, "I don't know why, but I feel drawn to her. I know it doesn't make sense, but I can't help it." These confessions reveal the truth. Attraction cannot be reduced to logic. It is not calculated. It is not controlled. It is the soul recognizing itself in another and demanding attention. Jung taught that attraction often comes from projection. The unconscious projects onto another person qualities that we have not fully integrated in ourselves. A man may see in you freedom, vitality, or mystery that he has buried in his own life. He may be married, but if he no longer feels these qualities, with his wife, the unconscious will project them onto you. Suddenly, logic disappears, because the pull is not about social structure, it is about psychological completion. This does not mean his wife lacks value or that his marriage is meaningless. It simply means that the unconscious has found in you a mirror of what he craves within himself. Logic cannot fight this, because logic does not speak the same language as the unconscious. One speaks in rules, the other in symbols. And in the inner world, symbols are always stronger than rules. 99% of married people don't realize this. They believe attraction should follow reason. They assume commitment can erase desire, but the psyche does not obey contracts. The unconscious will always search for wholeness, and when it sees a chance for that wholeness in another person, it will move toward it. This is why so many marriages look stable on the outside, but struggle in silence within. The man may love his wife and still feel drawn elsewhere. He may respect his family and still long for another presence. To society, this looks like betrayal. To Jung, it looks like the unconscious at work, demanding that the hidden parts of the self be acknowledged. For the woman who is chosen, this can feel confusing. She may wonder why he risks so much, why he cannot simply turn away. But the answer is simple. Logic is not the master of the heart. Attraction is not a decision made on paper. It is a force that bypasses reason and touches the deepest layers of the psyche. When he chooses you, even in secret, even without words, it is because you represent something logic cannot explain. You awaken his unconscious. You reflect the parts of himself that he needs in order to feel whole. And until he faces this truth, no reasoning will fully silence it. Jung once said that until the unconscious is made conscious, it will direct our lives, and we will call it fate. In love, this is exactly what happens. He may call it destiny, he may call it mistake, but beneath every explanation lies the same truth. Logic never wins against attraction, because attraction belongs to the soul. Before we finish, the Jung method shows the hidden patterns of love and desire and how to break free. The link is pinned in the first comment. The mystery that makes you irresistible. Attraction is not always about beauty, status, or logic. If it were, relationships would be predictable and safe. But Jung understood that attraction works on a much deeper level. It's not about what the eyes see. It is about what the unconscious feels. And one of the greatest forces behind this pull is mystery. A man may be married, surrounded by routine and predictability, yet still find himself unable to resist the mystery he sees in you. Mystery is powerful because it awakens curiosity. It reminds the psyche of the unknown, of what is still unexplored and alive. When a relationship becomes entirely predictable, desire often fades. The partner is no longer seen as new, and the imagination grows silent. But when mystery is present, the imagination awakens again. The unconscious projects onto you qualities that feel hidden, rare, and alive. This projection makes you irresistible, because in you, he sees what he cannot fully explain or control. Most women underestimate this force. They believe they must compete with beauty or status. They think they need to prove themselves by being perfect. Yet perfection is not what captivates the unconscious. Mystery is. When there is something he cannot fully define about you, when he senses a depth he cannot easily reach, his attraction grows. Logic tells him to stay where he is safe, but mystery invites him into the unknown, and the unknown is magnetic. Jung explained that the unconscious craves balance. If a man lives in too much order, he will be drawn to chaos. If he lives in too much duty, he will be drawn to freedom. If he is surrounded by predictability, he will be drawn to mystery. The psyche seeks what is missing, and in you, he may see the very opposite of what his daily life has become. This does not mean you are better or worse than his wife. It simply means you awaken what has been forgotten. Mystery also makes you a symbol. He may not even know why he feels drawn, but the pull remains. You represent something larger than yourself, a door to his own unconscious. And because he does not fully understand you, he cannot dismiss you. Mystery refuses to be explained away. It lingers in the mind, in the imagination, in the quiet moments when he should be thinking of something else. This is why you feel irresistible to him. It is not only about physical presence, it is about the psychological space you occupy. You are both real and symbolic at the same time, real in your interactions, but symbolic in what you awaken inside him. This duality creates a tension he cannot resolve, and so he keeps returning to it, consciously or not. 99% of married people never realize that what truly draws someone is not availability, not duty, not logic, but mystery. Mystery cannot be possessed, and that is what makes it powerful. When he senses that there is more to discover, he cannot help but lean closer. When he feels that you carry something beyond his understanding, he cannot fully let go. The truth is that many women give up their mystery too quickly. They reveal everything at once, hoping that complete openness will secure love. But desire does not live in complete clarity. It lives in the space between what is known and what is unknown. The unconscious thrives on this tension, and without it, attraction fades. For Jung, mystery was never about playing games or manipulation. It was about authenticity. A woman is mysterious not because she hides who she is, but because she is always growing, always discovering new depths in herself. This self-discovery makes her magnetic, because the man senses that there is always more to learn, always more to uncover. This is why you are irresistible to him, even when he is married. It is not simply you as a person, but the mystery you embody. You remind him of life beyond routine, of the parts of himself that still wait to be awakened. He chooses you, not always consciously, because you carry the energy of the unknown. And the unknown is what keeps the soul alive. The silent pull of the unconscious. There are moments in life when people feel pulled towards something they cannot explain. A song that stirs emotions, a place that feels strangely familiar, or a person who awakens feelings stronger than reason. This pull does not come from logic. It comes from the unconscious, and in relationships, this pull is often the strongest force of all. It explains why a married man with responsibilities and vows may still find himself drawn to you. Jung described the unconscious as the great hidden ocean beneath the surface of the mind. The conscious ego is like a small island, believing it controls everything, but the waves of the unconscious are always moving, always shaping decisions and feelings without our awareness. Attraction is one of the most direct ways the unconscious speaks. It bypasses explanation and appears as a pull, a silent energy that says, "Move closer." This is why he chooses you even when married to her. It is not because he logically decides to risk his stability. It is because the unconscious has recognized in you something he needs, something he has lost, or something he has never faced. You become the mirror of his hidden desires, wounds, or longings. And once the unconscious has chosen, the conscious mind struggles to resist. The silent pull of the unconscious works in subtle ways. He may think of you at unexpected moments, feel restless in your absence, or notice small details about you he cannot ignore. None of this is planned. It happens because the unconscious does not ask for permission. It acts beneath awareness, guiding feelings and choices before the conscious mind can even explain them. This is why people often say, "I don't know why I'm drawn to her." They confess confusion, but the truth is simple. The unconscious is at work. Jung believed that when the unconscious projects onto another person, it is because something in them reflects a missing part of the self. To the man, you may symbolize vitality, mystery, or freedom that he has buried in his daily life. In you, he sees the spark of what he longs to reclaim. Most married people never realize this. They believe love and attraction are purely conscious choices. They assume loyalty can silence desire, but the unconscious does not obey social contracts. It does not follow rules written by the mind. It moves according to its own language, a language of symbols and instincts. And when it finds a symbol powerful enough, the pull becomes irresistible. The danger is when this pull is ignored. Many try to bury it, forcing themselves to stay in routine while their inner world grows restless. Others act on it recklessly, mistaking unconscious attraction for destiny. But Jung reminds us that the purpose of the unconscious is not to destroy, but to reveal. The pull is a signal. Something inside is calling to be seen. For you, the woman, he feels drawn to. This can be confusing. You may wonder why he looks at you a certain way, why he lingers near, why he cannot seem to let go. But the truth is not always about you personally. It is about what you awaken in him. You have become the symbol of his own unconscious, the carrier of qualities he needs in order to feel whole. The silent pull of the unconscious is powerful because it does not fade easily. Logic may fight it, society may condemn it, but the psyche does not let go until its message is acknowledged. He chooses you, even in silence, because within you lies the reflection of what his soul craves. In the end, Jung would say, the real task is not to blindly follow the pull, but to understand it. The unconscious does not speak in words. It speaks in attraction, in dreams, in restlessness. And until it is heard, it will keep pulling again and again. That is why, even married, he feels drawn to you. Because the unconscious has already chosen long before his conscious mind tried to decide. Comfort versus passion, the secret battle. Every relationship holds a silent struggle that most people never recognize. On one side stands comfort, the need for safety, predictability, and stability. On the other side stands passion, the longing for fire, risk, and intensity. 99% of married people don't realize that this battle shapes almost every choice in love. It explains why a man may remain in the comfort of his marriage, yet feel irresistibly pulled toward the passion he sees in you. Comfort is not a bad thing. It provides grounding, trust, and the rhythm of daily life. In marriage, comfort means knowing who will be there at the end of the day, sharing responsibilities, raising children, and building a life together. Comfort is protective. It is the safe shore where the storms of life can be endured. But comfort alone has a hidden cost: predictability. When every day looks the same, when roles become fixed, the unconscious begins to grow restless. Passion lives in the opposite space. It thrives in uncertainty and surprise, in the possibility of the unknown. Passion is born when the unconscious senses mystery, when there is something not fully understood. It is not satisfied with stability. It needs movement. A man may live surrounded by comfort, but if passion is absent, he will feel something essential is missing. And when he sees in you the spark of mystery and aliveness, his soul feels awakened. This is why logic cannot silence the pull. The unconscious seeks balance, and where comfort dominates, passion calls. Jung explained that the psyche is always searching for wholeness. When a man suppresses one side of himself for too long, the unconscious compensates by projecting that missing quality onto someone else. In this case, his stable, predictable marriage may represent order and duty. But when he encounters you, you represent vitality, freedom, and the unknown. You become the carrier of what he has been missing. Attraction then becomes inevitable, because the unconscious always seeks what is absent. This inner battle is rarely spoken about. Most couples assume that the fading of passion is natural, an unavoidable part of marriage. They accept comfort as the final stage, even if it quietly empties them. Others deny the need for passion altogether, convincing themselves that loyalty alone is enough. But the unconscious does not rest. It keeps whispering that there is more to life than predictability. And when he meets you, that whisper becomes a shout. The danger comes when this conflict is denied. A man may bury his hunger for passion beneath duty, but eventually it resurfaces in ways he cannot control, in daydreams, in longing looks, in choices he never planned to make. The more he denies it, the stronger it grows. And so, even while married, he feels himself choosing you, not because you are a threat to his comfort, but because you represent the other side of his soul calling to him. Many women wonder why men risk stability for passion. The answer is that passion is not optional. It is a fundamental energy of the psyche. Without it, life feels incomplete. Comfort can sustain the body, but passion nourishes the spirit. And Jung would remind us, the soul will always push toward wholeness, even if it means breaking through the walls of safety. This does not mean passion and comfort cannot exist together. The deepest marriages are those that find a way to hold both. But most do not, because it requires effort, vulnerability, and the willingness to continually rediscover each other. When this effort is absent, comfort takes over, and passion looks for another outlet. That outlet may be found in you. D. Secret battle between comfort and passion is not something he consciously chooses. It happens within him, often without words. Comfort keeps him tied to her. Passion pulls him toward you. He lives in both worlds, torn between safety and fire. And until he recognizes this inner conflict, he will continue to feel divided. 99% of married people never realize that this battle is the true reason for so much longing and disappointment. They think passion dies naturally, but in truth, it is sacrificed for comfort, and once sacrificed, the unconscious seeks it elsewhere. This is why he chooses you even when married to her. You carry the passion he lost. You awaken the fire he buried. In the end, the real challenge is not to destroy comfort for passion or passion for comfort, but to integrate both. Only then can love grow deep and enduring. Until that happens, the battle continues, and in that battle, passion almost always wins because the soul refuses to live without fire. The shadow he sees, reflected in you, every person carries within themselves a hidden side, the part of the psyche Jung called the shadow. It contains everything we deny, repress, or are ashamed to acknowledge. The shadow is not only darkness or evil, it is also untapped vitality, desires and truths we fear to face. 99% of married people don't realize that this shadow becomes most visible in relationships, and often it is projected onto another person without awareness. When a married man feels drawn to you, it may not only be because of your qualities, but also because of what you awaken in his shadow. You become the mirror where he sees what he has hidden from himself. This reflection is powerful because the unconscious uses it as a way to demand attention. He may not understand why he is captivated, but in you he sees both the beauty and the danger of what he has ignored in himself. For example, if he has repressed his need for freedom, spontaneity, or passion, he may suddenly feel these qualities alive when he is near you. If he has silenced his vulnerability, he may feel safe to experience it in your presence. If he has denied his own longing for mystery, he may see it shining through your eyes. You are not simply a woman to him, you are the projection of his shadow, the carrier of what he has buried. This is why the attraction feels so overwhelming. It is not about a conscious decision, but about a psychological necessity. The shadow insists on being seen, and until it is recognized, it controls behavior from the background. Jung explained it clearly. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. For the man, this fate may look like choosing you, even when he's married to her. The shadow also explains why the attraction can feel both magnetic and frightening. On one hand, he feels alive in your presence because the parts of himself that were hidden now awaken. On the other hand, he may fear losing control because facing the shadow means confronting truths he has long denied. This inner tension makes the bond with you feel charged with energy, as if the air itself is electric when you are near. 99% of people never realize this mechanism. They believe attraction is only about external qualities, beauty, charm, or personality. But Jung teaches us that deeper forces are at play. What he sees in you may not even belong entirely to you. It may be the disowned parts of himself shining back through you. This is why the attraction feels inevitable. He is not only drawn to who you are, but to who he becomes when he is with you. For you, this can be both empowering and heavy. Empowering, because you recognize the deep impact you have. Heavy, because you may carry projections that are not truly yours. You may be seen as the rescuer, the forbidden lover, or the source of lost passion, roles shaped by his shadow. The challenge is to remember that while you awaken this side of him, you are not responsible for healing it. That is his inner work. The shadow he sees in you is not a curse, it is an opportunity. If he dares to face it, he can grow into a fuller version of himself. If he denies it, he will continue to live divided, chasing outside what he refuses to acknowledge inside. This is why many men remain tied to marriages that look safe but feel empty, while secretly longing for the woman who reflects their shadow. In the end, what he chooses in you is not only attraction, but recognition. He recognizes in you the parts of himself he has lost. This recognition feels like destiny, but it is actually psychology. The unconscious has chosen its mirror, and you are that mirror. Until he understands this truth, the pull will remain strong. Jung's wisdom shows us that love is not just about two people. It is about the meeting of conscious and unconscious, light and shadow. When he chooses you, even while married to her, it is because you are the place where his shadow becomes visible. And nothing in the human soul is more powerful than the call of what has been hidden for too long. Why he risks more than he admits. On the surface, it makes no sense. A married man has stability, a family, and a carefully built life. Logic would say he should protect it at all costs. Yet even with so much to lose, he still chooses you in ways he cannot explain. 99% of married people never realize that when a man risks more than he admits, it is not because of recklessness alone. It is because the unconscious has already decided that the risk is worth it, even if the conscious mind trembles. Carl Jung explained that the unconscious is the stronger force in human life. The ego may believe it is in control, but the unconscious shapes choices with symbols, projections, and desires that feel like destiny. When a man feels irresistibly drawn to you, he may try to hide it behind silence, excuses, or denial. Yet his actions reveal the truth. He is already risking his comfort for the pull he feels. He risks attention, he risks emotional exposure, he risks being misunderstood. And all because the unconscious whispers louder than logic. Why would he risk so much? Because what he feels with you is not ordinary. In you, he sees what his daily life no longer provides: aliveness, mystery, vitality. This does not necessarily mean his wife lacks value. It means that routine has silenced the spark, and the unconscious will not rest until it finds it again. You have become the mirror of what he craves most, and once this mirror appears, ignoring it feels impossible. Risk also comes from the shadow. Jung described how the parts of ourselves we repress often demand expression. If a man has denied his own longing for freedom or intimacy, he may suddenly find those parts alive with you. To honor that feeling, even secretly, is already a risk. But the shadow does not negotiate. It insists on being seen. The more he tries to suppress it, the stronger it becomes. The fascinating truth is that he rarely admits the depth of his risk. He may say it means nothing, that he is only curious, that he can control it. But inside he knows the pull is greater than he allows himself to confess. He knows that being near you changes him, even if he cannot put it into words. And this change, subtle as it may seem, is already a risk to the stability he has built. 99% of married people never realize that love and desire are not safe emotions. They always involve risk because they awaken transformation. Jung believed that the unconscious pushes us toward growth, even if it threatens our comfort. When he chooses you, It is not simply because you are attractive or different. It is because you symbolize a turning point in his inner journey. Choosing you means risking who he has been for the chance of becoming who he secretly longs to be. This is why his risk feels so heavy. It is not only about the fear of being discovered. It is about the fear of admitting to himself that what he feels with you is real. To acknowledge it would mean questioning everything he thought was certain: his marriage, his loyalty, his identity. And yet he cannot stay away. He risks because something in you feels like truth, and the soul will always move toward truth, even if the price is high. For you, this can be confusing. You may wonder why he hides his feelings, why he denies with words what he shows with actions. The answer is that he is caught between two worlds, the world of safety and the world of passion. He risks more than he admits because the unconscious does not allow him to stay neutral. His soul is already leaning toward you, even if his ego resists. In the end, Jung's psychology reminds us that risk is not just about external consequences. It is about inner transformation. When a man risks more than he admits, it is because his unconscious has already chosen. He chooses you because in you he sees the part of himself that cannot remain buried. He risks because, deep inside, he knows that to ignore this pull would be to betray his own soul, the truth about why he chooses you. When people try to explain why a married man might feel irresistibly drawn to another woman, they usually stop at surface answers. They speak of dissatisfaction at home, midlife crisis, curiosity, or weakness. But Jung's psychology shows us something far more profound. He does not choose you simply because of external lack or fleeting attraction. He chooses you because you awaken within him a part of himself that he has ignored, forgotten, or even buried. Attraction at its deepest level is not random. It is a form of recognition. When he looks at you, when he feels alive in your presence, he is not only seeing you as a woman, he is seeing what he could become again. You are the mirror of his unlived potential, the echo of his vitality, the reminder of truths he has silenced under routine. This is why the pull feels so powerful. It is not about betrayal, it is about survival of the soul. The unconscious insists that he cannot keep living half asleep. Carl Jung taught that what we call fate is often the unconscious guiding us. When this man feels magnetized by you, it is not fate in a mystical sense, but psychology in action. His anima, the inner feminine energy of his psyche, has projected itself onto you. You become the carrier of life, freedom, and passion that he needs to feel whole. This projection is not under his control. It bypasses logic, morals, and social rules. That is why, even married to her, he feels as if something inside him has already chosen you. But this truth comes with tension. He is caught between two powerful forces: comfort and passion, duty and aliveness. On one side, he has a structured identity: husband, provider, stable partner. On the other side, he feels the raw energy of desire, freedom, and authenticity. When he is near you, the conflict is not really about two women. It is about two versions of himself. One that survives by obeying the rules, and one that thrives by following the pull of the unconscious. He knows that only one feels real. This is why his attraction often feels both magnetic and frightening. You awaken him, but you also challenge him. Being near you means confronting the life he has built and asking whether it still reflects his truth. That is not a small risk. It is why he may hide his feelings, why he may avoid admitting the depth of his choice, even to himself. And yet, no matter how much he resists, the unconscious speaks louder. He finds himself drawn back to you again and again because symbols are stronger than excuses. Most married people never realize that relationships are more than practical arrangements. They are arenas of transformation. Jung described marriage as one of the most demanding paths for the soul because it forces us to face our shadow, our projections, and our hidden desires. When he chooses you, it is not a simple betrayal. It is a sign that his soul has reached a breaking point. The judge's unconscious refuses to be silenced any longer, and here lies the truth. He does not choose you simply because you are different. He chooses you because through you he sees himself more clearly. You reflect the man he longs to be, passionate, alive, whole. In you he finds recognition, not replacement. That recognition is irresistible because it touches the deepest layers of his being. It reminds him of life beyond obligation, of a self he thought was gone but is still waiting to be lived. This truth is not easy to face. It demands courage because it tears apart illusions of control. But once seen, it cannot be unseen. He chooses you because, in psychological terms, his unconscious has already made the decision for him. And until he confronts it consciously, he will continue to feel the pull, no matter how much he tries to explain it away. So in the end, why does he choose you, even when he is married to her? Because you awaken the self he has lost, because you are the mirror of his wholeness, because the unconscious always chooses truth over comfort. And while the world may not understand, his soul does. This is the truth of his choice. And in the next video, we will dive even deeper into how this hidden psychology shapes the way he loves, even in silence.